The Grace Farm and Grace Green communities, often mired in stigma, seem trapped in a cycle of violence with no clear exit. Recently, a troubling pattern has emerged as the majority of criminal activities in St. John's have come from these areas, leading many to associate them with lawlessness. The tragic murder of 17-year-old Vonde Bowers, a promising student from the Otters Comprehensive School, is a heartbreaking example of this grim reality. On Tuesday night, Vonde was brutally stabbed to death, with his blood still fresh at the scene when Antigua.news arrived. Residents recounted that Vonde was involved in a confrontation with other young men, yet no one anticipated the outcome would be so brutal. Vonde, an inspiring cricketer, suffered multiple stab wounds, a chilling reminder of the night's violence. The senseless nature of his murder leaves his family grasping for answers and the community shaken to its core. In response to this tragic incident, both Prime Minister Gaston Brown and Sports Minister Daryl Matthew firmly condemned the violence, urgently calling for action to halt the rising tide of crime in Antigua and Barbuda, particularly among our youth. Additionally, the parliamentary representative for the constituency, Richard Lewis, emphasized the need for change in a statement to Antigua.news. Lewis, who is currently abroad, says the need to devise a crime-fighting strategy is imminent.
My heart is aching for my community. Crime in our community needs to be controlled, and soonest. A multifaceted approach is needed. I call on all of us as residents of this community to join in the fight against this scourge. Let us end the finger pointing and work together to devise a crime-fighting strategy. We are all in this together. We need a community united against crime and violence. I use this opportunity to call on all parents, schools, churches, community groups, sports clubs, etc. to double the effort in the fight. Let us save our young people. We cannot give up on this generation. Enough time has been spent talking about the problem. Let us be a part of the solution. Our community is bigger and better than the problems we face.
Meanwhile, ABLP caretaker for that constituency, Michael Joseph, also raised alarm over the latest murder.
To see such a young life lost again. And this is something about 3 weeks ago. I attended a funeral of another young man, and I made a plea to the young individuals in there. I said, let's not have another family bury another child. Let's stop this. Let's try and find better ways. And to see less than 2 months after we have another family has to go through that, burying their 16-year-old who had so much promise, so much dream, so much ambition. And on the verge of really trying to identify where he's going in life to see that scar. That is something that I can never, ever come to grips with, and I never wish on any family. But the reality of it is, until we find somebody to deal with these young people and get them to understand what they're doing, it's just going to be a recurring cycle that we're going to have to continue to go through.
Joseph, who is currently abroad, spoke to our newsroom by telephone. He reported that the government has attempted to address the rise in youth violence, but groups with malicious intentions continue to emerge. He says most of these young men are driven and organized by adults.
So I can tell you I've personally met with about at least four different subsets of individuals. I wouldn't call them gangs. I don't think they're organized enough to be gangs, but they're a group of young individuals that, they're left unsupervised, and so they create an event of mischief. And so I've met with about 4 different ones, and the sad part about it is that they're being driven and organized by adults who have realized that, this is a mechanism for them to protect themselves from any liability or any legality by getting these young individuals. And when I met them, the youngest one I think was about 14 years old. But if you saw him and heard how he spoke, you would think that this is an adult, and a hardened adult.
Joseph and MP Richard Lewis's call for a collaborative effort is crucial. It highlights the need for a multifaceted approach that encompasses not just law enforcement, but also community engagement and education. Community policing and conflict resolution programs in school, they say, can foster a sense of belonging and responsibility among the youth, potentially steering them away from crime. The involvement of churches and parents is equally vital, according to both Lewis and Joseph, as these institutions can provide support networks and counseling to those at risk. However, the challenges are immense. Illegal firearms, theft, shooting, and murders create an environment of fear that complicates these efforts. It's a test of our leaders' resolve. Can they implement effective strategies to curb these issues, not just in Grace Farm but across the nation? We can only hope that with collaboration, resources, and dedication to the community, real change can be achieved. The future of these neighborhoods depends on it. This has been a production of Antigua.news. I am Charmaine Big Charles. Antigua.news is your #1 online news platform for breaking events as they happen. In a busy world, why wait until tomorrow for today's news? We have the latest in local, regional, and international news. Like and follow us on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Join our WhatsApp groups and channel. Become part of the Antigua.news family, where we bring you the latest news at your fingertips. If it's not on Antigua.news, then probably it didn't happen. Antigua.news for breaking news that captivates.